Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of an old city, there stood a grand but decaying manor where Cinderella lived with her stepmother and two ill-tempered stepsisters. Her day began long before the sun rose and ended long after the moon had climbed high into the sky. She performed all the heavy chores, scrubbing floors and carrying coal, her clothes always stained with soot and ash. Yet, despite the grime, there was a constant spark in her eyes, a spark of hope. Her sisters mocked her, calling her Cinderella because she was always covered in the cinders of the fireplace, but she ignored their harsh words and listened only to her heart. She believed that if a person remained kind and never stopped working hard, time would eventually change for the better. One day, a royal proclamation echoed through the streets. The king was hosting a magnificent ball for his son, and every young maiden in the kingdom was invited. Cinderella's sisters shrieked with joy, ordering expensive fabrics and jewels. Cinderella, too, dared to dream of seeing the palace lights. She pulled out an old dress that had belonged to her mother and tried to repair it, but in a fit of jealous rage, her stepsisters tore the dress to rags and left for the palace without her. Left alone in the shadows, Cinderella's spirit finally began to break. She sat in the garden and wept, feeling that all her goodness had been for nothing. But suddenly, a golden light shimmered in the air. A beautiful fairy godmother appeared before her, smiling gently. "Dry your eyes, Cinderella," she said. "Your patience and hard work have brought you to this moment." With a wave of her magic wand, Cinderella's tattered rags transformed into a breathtaking gown of sky blue and gold. On her feet appeared a shimmering glass slippers, and a plain pumpkin turned into a magnificent carriage. The fairy godmother warned her that the magic would only last until the stroke of midnight. Before then, she had to return. When Cinderella entered the ballroom, the music stopped and every eye turned toward her. The prince was so captivated by her grace and simplicity that he spent the entire evening by her side. In her happiness, she lost track of time. As the clock began to strike 12, she remembered the fairy's warning. She fled the palace in such a hurry that one of her glass slippers remained on the palace steps. The next day, the king declared he would marry only the woman whose foot fit the slipper. Every girl in the city tried it on, but it fit no one. When the king's men reached Cinderella's house, her stepsisters tried desperately to force their feet into the shoe, but they were far too large. Finally, Cinderella asked for a chance. Despite her stepmother's attempts to hide her, the men allowed her to try. The slipper slid onto her foot perfectly, as if it had been made only for her. Cinderella's story teaches us that no matter how difficult the road and no matter how much people try to push you back, if you possess truth and patience, the entire universe conspires to help you. Cinderella rose from the ashes to become a princess because even after enduring the worst of times, she never allowed the goodness inside her to die. Do not lose heart, for your miracle is also just one decision and a little more hard work away.